Welcome back to Make It Simple TV. I'm Heather Porter. I'm co-founder of Autopilot Your Business and co-host of Make It Simple TV. Now, in these episodes, Andrew, my other co-host, and I bring in our inner circle of experts from all over the world so they can share their life and business lessons with you. I am joined or welcomed by Andrew McCauley. How are you?
Hey Heather, I'm so glad that you are on this call because you're in the middle of moving house, which is not always the funnest thing to do, and they decide to turn the internet off before you're ready, which is always not a good thing for Google Hangouts. So I'm glad you've come up with an answer. You've got a little monkey at the back pedaling fast to give us some internet.
This is my monkey. It's my iPhone tethered. So hopefully it works. We'll see how we go.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
I'm excited if you guys. We'll make it work. We have an amazing guest, Michael Silvers, who's joining us. And now, God, Michael, I think I have known you for 10 years, close to 10 years. Andrew and I have traveled around the world with Michael. He's a peak performance expert and master coach. And, you know, we've worked together with Chris Howard, but also even T. Harv Eker. So this guy, Michael, works with the greats all over the world, and he's not so bad himself. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Thank you very much, Heather. I am so glad to be here.
It's so good to have you. So before we kick in, why don't you start off and tell us a little bit about how you came to where you are today, doing what you are right now.
Oh, the journey. I always like the journey. Here's where I get right in front of the camera. So basically, you know, what I've done is I started a long time ago out in clinical psychology, and what I realized is there was a way to create better performance. But with that, it seemed like clients were just there for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, and there wasn't much movement. So I really took a look at a lot of other technologies and what was out there and got very involved with NLP. That road to me was brought because I jumped into that thing called network marketing, which most people shy away from and run away from. For me, it was very successful, made me financially free, and that was, about 16 years ago. The beauty about network marketing that most people need to understand, which is the same with internet marketing and so many other businesses out there, is you get to run into a lot of people in personal development. Because again, who you are today is a sum of everything that you've done up until this point, and it's a really important point for people to understand. When people walk into a class and I don't want to purchase that, I don't want to take that, no, I can't afford that. That consciousness and what you're thinking will stop you from moving to the next level. So I became the kind of person who every time I walk into anything, I'd purchase everything. If it was internet marketing, I'm going to buy everything they got. If it's network marketing, I'm going to buy the tools. If it's personal development, I'm going to take everything they have because education, again, is who you are. So because of all this education I took and started to get into, of course, the NLP world, I ran into Chris Howard. And running into Chris Howard, again, same thing, took his first introductory, bought everything he had because that's what you do, and then suddenly ended up down in Australia for some of the courses. But what I was, and my wife, we were both ready for an opportunity. We were open to what the universe would provide, but we, of course, created action to make it happen. And with that action, as we moved forward, we started to not only take all the courses he had, but listen for his needs at the time, which then became for us to develop his first online community, which was his first membership site. I became director of his coaching program a year later, and that opened me up for an opportunity then to be called in 2010 by T. Harv Eker, who said, hey, we're building a new Ultimate Internet Bootcamp course. Would you build our coaching program? And that started me down the road with Peak Potentials, meeting many other people in my life and building coaching programs. We're in about 13 countries at this point. So everything that I've done along the way has gotten me down the road because I've been willing and open for the next opportunity, willing to pay for the education that it took, because along the way I bought everything that there is. And truly still being open today, still walking into courses, still buying everything there is, and really looking for people's human potential, whether that's in internet marketing, network marketing, business, stocks, real estate, whatever it is, having them go to the next level.
Hey, Michael, it's great to have you on the show, and you and I have been doing a lot of work over the last couple of years together. me being involved with Ultimate Internet Bootcamp, and you were the one who got me into that in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, you've been the catalyst for me meeting a lot of other great people too over the last couple of years. One thing that I do want to say is that you said you look after a coaching program, and I just want to make sure that people understand how big this coaching program is, because, you know, most people think of a coaching program, you might have 4 or 5 clients in your coaching, you know, stable or whatever, but yours is a lot bigger than that. I mean, you're the coach's coach as well. Give us a rundown of, like, what size are we talking? A couple of hundred, couple of thousand people that you're pretty much ultimately responsible for, right?
That's correct. It's actually in the thousands, and the beauty is it's in the thousands in many different countries. So we have clients everywhere. Clients range from Australia, country that I love dearly, to Singapore, to Hong Kong, to South Africa, to Europe. You getting the picture? They're all over. And what it's done, again, for me is I learned to then work within those countries. So it creates a tremendous amount of business learning for me and being able to operate in all those countries. But it, you know, again, it's also how many coaches that I've trained. And there's been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of coaches that have come under my tutelage, because what I don't believe is to train 10 million coaches to have 500 clients. I teach coaches to be the best on the planet, and they can handle 50, 70, 80, 100 clients each as they're building their businesses.
Hey, what, in your opinion, what makes a great coach?
Great question. What makes a great coach is a coach that can, number one, in their own life, can truly get done what they say they're going to do, and at the same time do that for a client while the client gets to do all the work, but have compassion at the same time. Some people are really tough coaches and they want to kick you from here to there, and they want to make it happen, but they miss the compassion piece. And some coaches are very compassionate, nothing wrong with that, but they don't have that piece that they're afraid to move the client forward. They're either afraid they're going to lose the client, or they just don't have it in themselves to do it, so they don't know how to turn it on for somebody else. It doesn't mean as a coach you have to be an expert in a field. Some of the best swim coaches in the country, and actually some of the best ice skating coaches I'll pick out, don't even do those sports. And they're a great coach because they know how to move people. It's part of leadership, is being able to move those hearts and minds is what's so important.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that you say that people have to actually say or do what they're going to say they're going to do. I mean, you and I have both seen coaches who've come through and they have their own coaching practice, so to speak, but you just look at them and think, wow, you probably are not the best person to be coaching that particular that field, because you can't even get your own stuff right. I've seen a few of those. I'm sure you've seen a lot of those sort of people too, right?
See it all the time. And what people also get confused by is they get confused by the difference between a coach and a mentor. And this is a really distinct, this is a distinction that most people should understand. You have a coach, that's somebody that's going to move you forward. How many coaches do you typically have? Look at sports stars. They have 7, 8, 9 coaches because you're refining every single point. How many mentors should I have? As many as it takes to get you where you need. But the difference is that a mentor typically is in the field you're in and typically ahead of you. So they can tell you, think of an internet marketing mentor, push this button, push that button, do this. They can exactly tell you what the path will be and help you walk down it. Your coach, who's on top of all of that, will make sure that you do what you say you're going to do, that you do push those buttons, and that you do end up successful along the way. Most successful people I know have at least 3 coaches and anywhere from 2 to 4 mentors. So when people say, well, I want to be the best internet marketer in the world, my first question, how many coaches do you have and how many mentors have you purchased? Not people you talk to for free because it's your buddy and your friend. Because you, again, will do more for others than you will for yourself. But the important part here is that you have investment. So the word investment is always the first thing that I ask clients.
That's great.
I love that you said that, actually, Michael, because so many people try and pick your brain and extract information. I find that the investment and the exchange of money brings more value and actually gets the person to take that advice much more seriously as well. I'm like you. I think that finding somebody that you can invest in and get their materials, whether a coach or mentor, is a really key thing. So I like that you said that investment. Very good.
Yeah, it's a huge piece, and what a lot of people don't understand, because we've even done coaching with kids, and Chris Howard used to have a great example of that. Um, but an investment is different for, like, for children. You could have an investment of, I will absolutely work with you as your swim coach, and how about bring your favorite toy? Something that means something to them. It doesn't even mean you won't give it back for a child. I'm not saying take their favorite toy, but something that is meaningful, and typically for us at our ages, over anywhere from 16 on, money is an investment because it's something that we work for, and it's something tangible that we can hold. Even though a lot of it is by plastic processing now, it's still an important piece. And people will walk into a course, do it for a couple days, and not buy anything. And I sit there, I'm floored, because what happens is, realize you still are where you are. You haven't changed. There's really no difference, because you're so afraid to make that investment. You're holding on to an intangible. Because when it comes time to the very end, it's not how much you have in the bank, it's how many people show up at your funeral. So people have to realize that much more, and I think they're starting to again. We're seeing much more movement within even Peak Potentials courses. People are really starting to buy, and it's not about the money coming in, it's about the changing of the lives during that time, because not only do they then take everything that we have, they start to buy everything that everybody else has, and that's how they become that greater person later on.
Hey, I want to just flip that whole concept on its head for a second and talk about coaches that are listening to the program, people that are already coaches and they're coaching other people. And we know a lot of coaches in our circles who they say they're coaches, but they're not really doing a lot of coaching. What would be, as far as they're concerned, what would be one thing that you could talk about that would help them in their coaching business? What do you think the one thing is that really is missing from a lot of those coaches' practices?
Yeah, most coaches, what they do, it's sort of like, I set up shop, I got the shingles, I got my card, I got my stationery. Why you have stationery nowadays, I don't know, but that's a whole different story. Though you do want to write people personal letters. We'll talk about that in marketing one day. But most coaches, what they do, and again, I'm not going to single anybody out, massage therapists and some other practitioners, is they don't understand the power of networking. So they don't network their business. They don't go out and join associations. When I train new coaches when they're building their own business, and again, if I'm going to train a new coach and they're going to spend a day with me, it's going to be $10,000. And there's some simple tools that they can use. Some I'll talk about here, some I won't. But it's getting out there to the network. So the first thing I have them do, I'll tell them, in the next week I want you in 3 associations. Could be a Chamber of Commerce, could be a Rotary Club, could be a Toastmasters, because I also want you to learn how to speak. So tell me which course you're going to purchase to learn how to speak. I also want you to join Business Networking International. I was in Business Networking International probably 13 years. It's powerful for coaches nowadays. There's a coach like in all of them, but you can have a different classification. And if you don't know what Business Networking International is, look up bni.com and you can do the research on your own. But it's that networking piece that most coaches don't do. They just forget it. They don't want to. They don't want to talk to new people. They really don't know how to talk to new people. So get the skill to talk to new people and get out there and network. And you have to network a lot. It's a job in the beginning. Your residual flow is not there. Coaching, it takes a long time to build that up. So you've got to have the persistence. You love what you do. The only other thing I suggest for new coaches is, if for some reason that piece is hard for you, or you're a great coach, you just know you're a great coach, you only have 3 clients and you're just having trouble, find a large coaching division. So first of all, to get in a large coaching division, you can't say, hey, I would love to be one of your coaches. Great, have you taken all of our courses? So you do what I did. You take all of the courses, you show up, you crew, you're always there, and then you know it's a growing division, and you get what you give out as much as you get back, and hopefully you give out a lot more. They'll look at you, they'll get to know you, and then you say, are you hiring any coaches? And there's a lot of coaches that have full-time businesses in the big divisions. Tony Robbins, Peak Potentials, Kiyosaki's group. They're full-time coaches, but they gave so much of service, and then they were brought into the division.
Yeah, I love that you say, give out a lot first. Not even a lot, but give out and then you'll get back. And I think that's a common theme across not just coaching, but what's going on in the world. In our space with internet marketing, we're always hearing about give as much as you can. People want to know who you are, what you're good at. offer results in advance, and then people come along and say, you know what, you've given me great results already. Now it's time to really engage you and pay you. So, great point. I love that. Now you're doing a fair bit of coaching yourself, but also not just for clients, but also coaches, and you're always on the phone. I know you're as busy as ever. What's one tool or resource that you can't live without?
One thing that I can't live without, you know, it's for me, it's a daily, what's the best way to put this? Daily accountability is probably a tool, you know, for me that is the greatest tool ever created. So whether you create it on your computer or you want to write it out, you know, if you're kinesthetic and you're heavy and you really, which means you just want to feel it, you want to write out everything you do. But it's to have a daily sheet of those things that those objectives that you want to complete. So they might be, they're not really goals. Goals is a whole different, and we could talk about that another time. But they're daily objectives that you're going to complete every day. It could be about your business, could be about your life, your career, whatever it is. That for me keeps me on track and moving forward. That has been one of the biggest pieces for me. And sort of as I say, a tool, that's a good point, because also realize, everyone, things always are not what they seem. So a lot of us who are on the internet a lot realize that some of what we use on the internet is a tool, but realize it's a tool. It doesn't mean that you live on it for 9 hours a day. It's different if it's your business, but if not, you know, Facebook is a great tool in marketing. Oh, it's tremendous in marketing. It's tremendous. I've actually learned so much from you, Andrew, regarding Facebook and how to use it, especially Google+, but that doesn't mean that I live on it 10 hours a day. So everyone out there, remember, there's a difference between what a tool is and then go live your life.
Love it.
Gold. Words of gold. Hey, Michael, now, I love your background. I think it's extraordinary, and I think what you're about to share is really going to be amazing for our viewership. So most of the people that watch our show are business owners. They already have a business, or they're in sort of that startup phase. What are three simple tips that you can give them to really get the most out of their business or life right now?
You know, the biggest thing is we have a tendency of getting really involved in our businesses. For those of us, I probably helped start about 2,500 businesses, and actually that's, for some of the other coaches I've met, that's sort of in the medium range, but it's a lot. I mean, I've been there. The biggest thing I think from startup businesses is you're going to know, first of all, you're out of balance. You just know in the first 3 to 5 years that you're going to be out of balance. So a couple things. If you're married, enroll your wife into the business. Doesn't mean she works in the business. Doesn't mean she has to. She might not want to. Or it could be the flip side. It's your husband, depending on who's starting the business. But enroll them in your mission, in your vision, where you're going, what it's going to create for the family. The other thing that you do is enroll your children if you have children. When I started down the road of network marketing, which is a non-traditional business, I still had to do the same thing because it took many hours of my life. I had to enroll my children in the process, the mission, the vision. Also, create times where there's gifts. So, you know, because I know you guys are so supportive of everything I'm doing, I'm going to take you down. We're going to fly down to Disneyland. We're going to do these things. And do the same thing with your spouses. It's truly important. With everybody around you, start including them in your mission and vision. Not only will your life be a little bit more in balance, but people around you can give you their energy. And then you can also find the ones who are not there to support you. And not that you got to dump them, but you just know where they're coming from. That's a big thing when you start business. The other thing is schedule your life every day that you have time for yourself, okay? So make sure there's an hour every day where you have time for yourself, whether that's prayer, meditation, quiet time, reading a book, whatever you need to do to decompress an hour a day. I advise everybody do it. When you're starting a business, you just don't figure you have, I got my family, I got my kids, I got my wife, I got my business, and you lose yourself in there somewhere. And then you start to dislike what you're doing, or you start to dislike the people around you because you feel they're imposing, and you don't want that to happen. So that is just the biggest piece, is schedule your time. So you schedule time for yourself and enroll your family, friends, and everybody around you in your mission and vision.
Love that. I love it. It's great. It's I know that my wife is in real estate, and she goes to a monthly real estate meeting, and I go along with her because, you know, I'm supporting her and doing that sort of stuff, and I realize the value of having your family support. She does the same for me in my business, and I know that I speak to people at this real estate meeting, and they're like, "Wow, it's so lucky that you two are coming to this thing because I wish my wife would come along because she just doesn't get it. She doesn't want to know about it." Or on the flip side, my husband's not coming because he doesn't like this sort of stuff. He thinks it's a cult. So I really understand how it can really drain on not only your relationship but the way you're running your business too. So that's a really good point. That if you've got the other side involved, and I think Heather and I are both lucky. We've both got that support from our other halves that are. It's been really good to really help us get through a lot of these testing times. From we've been in this business for 4 years, and there's been times it's been testing, but it's been good to have the support of the family. H, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that it's an amazing thing when you really have people around you that support you. I did a bit of house cleaning as part of our growth of our own business to just make sure that those around me do believe in our vision and mission and really support where I'm headed. Because it is hard, Michael, like you're saying, there's some challenging times. So I love that tip about get the family enrolled, get your friends, family, and good people that love you involved.
Yep. It makes such a difference because, again, as you're getting everybody enrolled, you actually you gather more energy for yourself, because it's very draining to always be explaining to everyone why you're doing what you're doing, instead of people they don't even have to quite understand it, but it gives them, it helps your forward momentum, because the energy, they're like, yeah, I don't know what you do, but hey, I'm supporting you 100%. That's really all you need. We do have a tendency, too, of wanting to enroll them so much in our dream that we want, and they're not always on the same page. It's like when you come from a seminar. Anybody ever come from a personal development seminar? You run home, you're all excited to tell your wife or your husband how great it was, and they think you're in a cult, they think you're crazy, and you're telling them you're going to change everything right now. We're selling the house, we're selling the kids. You can't do that. You have to meet them where they're at, and really the biggest gift they can give you is really just their support at the moment. And that, just remember, meet them where they're at.
Very good, very good. So what is a quote or a mantra? Now, I'm sure you've heard a lot of these quotes, and you've probably heard them every second day for the last 10 years for some of these speakers that you work with. But what's a quote or a mantra that you really like to live by right now?
I do, and you're right. I'm surrounded by it all the time, and there's so many out there, and there's so many things. For me, it's not so much a quote. Really, what I've come to believe and what's so important is really just live for today. Now, live for today doesn't mean just do it all for yourself, because I'm very much about a service. It means if you're going to do it now. Don't do it tomorrow. Yesterday's done already. So I always say to myself, do it now. Just do it now. Nike had it great with, just do it, and it's truly what you should be saying all the time. Just do it now. Stop wasting. You're not wasting time. You're just letting it fly by. We always talk about wasting time. You can't really waste it. It just goes by. So just do it now.
Michael, I want to know, what's something about you that most people do not know?
Oh, something about me that most people do. Well, I could bring up my old Disneyland story, but let's see. Most people would not know. It's interesting because being director of such a large division and working with so many people in the personal development world and really creating programs now, people sort of think you know it all. And what's really important, what people should know is I'm just like you. So if anybody wanted to know just something about me, like maybe I'm just like you. There's no difference. I am a human being just like you. I put one shoe on at a time. I don't do anything different. Neither does Tony Robbins or Harv Eker or anybody else out there. We're all just human beings trying to learn something on this and leave a legacy on this planet and help as many people as we can. So to me, that would be the biggest thing is I'm just like all of you, and I make mistakes just like all of you, and I fall down at times just like all of you. It's who gets back up makes all the difference.
Speaking of legacies, what sort of legacy would you like to leave? What would you like to be known for?
I would like to be known.
Michael Silvers, he's this person. What would that be?
Yeah, Michael Silvers. The old eulogy, but Michael Silvers spent his life helping people transform from where they were at to get to that next level in their life. He took 1 million people to help them build their goals, dreams, and desires. and truly allowed them to be free, whatever that means. It's not financial for everyone. It might be spiritually. It might be around their family.
Great. Awesome. So before we wrap it up, I've got two more questions for you. One is, what is one major life lesson that you've learned that you'd like to share with us?
Major life lesson. For me, it goes back to that thing about do it now. You know, procrastination was really probably the hardest thing for me, because if I could do it tomorrow, it sounded great. And I was always putting things off. And the biggest life lesson, again, follows right back to that do it right now. That I'm going to live life now. I'm going to take care of things now. I'm going to stay in the moment, and I'm going to learn and love what's going on at the moment. Not worry about tomorrow, not worry about today. Still plan for it, but just be here right now.
Right. H, do you want any other questions you got there before I ask him my next question? Big one.
Now you ask the big one, and I'll finish up because I have one comment after.
All right.
After you.
Okay. So, I know that you're involved with a program, a new program. I'm not sure how much you can tell us about this program, but it's a pretty exciting program that you've been in the thick of from the very beginning. And I'm lucky enough to have been invited to come inside the inner circle, if you like, and present some interesting information. In fact, when I did our Make It Simple call with Ludwina a couple of weeks ago, I was calling from Vegas, and that's where I was. I was with Michael, actually, at one of these specific programs. So, Michael, are you allowed to tell us a little bit about the program and give us the rundown on why it's working so well? Because it's a program that people are loving right now. So I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit about it.
Absolutely. So we created the Global Mastermind program with Peak Potentials. And what we really took a look at is not only the power of the mastermind and the synergy of people working together, which there's other masterminds out there, and they're very good. I don't care who you go to somebody's. But what we started to take a look at is not only are you going to be part of a mastermind, but how do we truly create that community and have also a very strong of service part in there. And that's what we created. We created a year-long program that allows people 3 times to get together for 5-day camps and retreats. It's not we get together and we sing and we talk and we play and maybe we do a little business. We get down and dirty for 5 days. We're in there working together in beautiful resort areas, and we go out for service. We make sure we service the community, a group, whatever is necessary. And we do that, again, for 5 days, 3 times a year. The other thing that we built in is we built in phone calls every week, so you have consistent contact. We put a year of coaching in there. We put a group on Facebook so they can interact in their businesses. And then we drop in the 21 years of Peak Potentials mentors who've been working with us, so people can get experts like Mr. Andrew McCauley, who can help them really drive their businesses online with marketing, social media, and everything else that you do. Membership sites with Heather did a great call, and on and on and on. And we drop in billionaires. We've had billionaires come to the Global Mastermind because their mindset is different. And people get tremendous learnings, and then they just continue on and on and on. And we are now in our 4th rotation within almost a year and a half of building this. And you're right, it is absolutely it's growing exponentially. And in the next couple of weeks, it's going to grow to Australia, Singapore, South Africa, all through Europe, and all through China. So it's very exciting what we're doing. I'm glad that I'm one of the founders of it, and it really brought all my skills in my 30 years in sweating through how we were going to create this. And myself and Adam Markell, the lead trainer for Peak Potentials, did it. We worked it, and it's just flying high.
Yeah, you know what? I want to just say, going to these things, I've been in. I think I've been to a couple of them now, and getting to know the guys that are in the mastermind. It really is a group of people that are raving fans. I haven't seen a group of raving fans for an event, or not event, well, this particular event, for a long time like this. You know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a couple of weeks ago you were at Martha's Vineyard where you were doing one of the programs, and then I think there was maybe half a dozen or so of the people that were in Martha's Vineyard, which is out on the east coast of the US, all flew back to LA the next day for another event so they could all get together and hang out with each other because they just love being with each other. They're really getting a lot of great feedback from each other, and I think you look at the Facebook group and it's just one of those love fest, if you like, but without being really sick. It's really supportive and really helping each other push the limits so they can really grow their businesses.
Yeah, and that's what it's done. It's created. It is a group that we had a call last night. You're right. We were all in Martha's Vineyard, and everybody gets back on a plane, goes back to LA to do what we call our Reignite weekends. And at the same time, they're doing business all the time. Within the first couple months of being in, we just had somebody launch a new fashion. It's a tremendous fashion movement that she's created, and she brought a lot of it from Milan. We've had somebody within 2 weeks of joining the program because of one lead we gave them is now on 14 stages with Bill Walsh. And he's just like, I can't believe this has happened. And that was within 2 weeks of joining the program and one lead. Because what Adam and I do is we open up our Rolodex. We've got 21 years of Rolodex working with Harv Eker, and allows people to truly meet people that they've always wanted to meet, or to get mentored by somebody that they sort of can't believe. And sometimes it's that one thing in your business, that one tweak, and masterminds are beautiful about doing that.
Excellent.
Wow. So Michael, because I'm excited about this. I've been a fan of yours for a while, and where do people find out more about this mastermind group you're talking about?
Great question. So 2 places to make it easy. One would be they can go to www.peak.potentials, that's potential with an S.com. So www.peakpotentials.com, and they can also email me too. That would be just fine. So it's Michael, Michael .silvers, SILVERS @peakpotentials.com. Please reference the show so I know where you came from if you have questions, and I'd be happy to answer your questions regarding any of the above, or maybe you just got a question in your life and I could do something really quickly.
You're one of the most traveled people I know right now. You are everywhere all the time. We're very lucky to have you at home, actually.
It's amazing, actually. 2 days home. I can't believe it.
You're off to Florida tomorrow, I believe, for another event.
That's right. No, let's see, I was in Chicago, I was in Shanghai, I was in Vegas, then I was in Martha's Vineyard, then we're going to Orlando, then I'm going to Salt Lake, and that's all within about 2 months.
Crazy.
Wow. So, Michael, I just wanted to say one thing to you, from the bottom of my heart as well. Guys, Michael he's like an opportunity maker, I think, for lack of a better word. I know you've given Andrew great opportunities, but you did one for me as well. You brought me into Harv Eker, and I did some stuff on his new website, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. And guys that are listening, follow Michael. Check him out online, because he really is a bringer of opportunity, and he has the most unbelievable Rolodex. So you want to keep an eye on this guy. Now, guys, as always, you can come on over to makeitsimple.tv to watch the replay, and also we have some information about Michael there and the links that he talked about, so you can find out more. And as we get ready to say goodbye, Michael, any last words you'd like to share?
Just my biggest thing again is live your life for today. Don't procrastinate. If you need to buy it, buy it. If you need to learn it, learn it. If you need to do it, do it. But just get it done. Live your life, enjoy yourself, and love your family.
Thanks, Michael. It's been great having you on the program. It's a joy always to talk to you. Thank you once again.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, guys. Hopefully we'll be able to travel with you again. It'd be good to see you on the road.
Absolutely.
Talk soon, guys. Thank you for joining us.